Welcome to episode 71 of AFC Fylde Still We Rise. Come in and join us on Football Manager 2020. Today the Coasters take on Preston North End, a local rival here in the Sky Bet Championship. And as you can see, there's only 3 points between us in the league table. Plenty has happened since you were last with us. The Barnsley game that I was planning to record was actually postponed, as was Blackpool's game on the same day, so weather causing havoc up in the northwest of England. Let's begin with the results, and they've been fairly positive. So the last time we were on YouTube was the 2-1 win against Hull City. Brian Fearbeamer with 2 goals, replied late on by Robbie McKenzie on the counter-attack. But we took the chocolates at the Globe Arena, all 3 points in the bag, and we had to go a little bit defensive, a little bit time wasting in the final few minutes, as you may recall. We then overcame Cardiff. Cardiff are down in about 21st place in the Championship and on a pretty bad run. So we took advantage there with Kenneth de Groot, our on loan star from Manchester United, and Scott Duxbury at left back to win in the beautiful Cardiff City Stadium. So that looked magnificent. 22,000 fans on hand late in January. We then played Barnsley, and all of a sudden we seemed to be participating in matches with lots of goals. Joshua Humphreys, our loan signing from Liverpool, managed to get himself sent off. By then it was a 3-3 game, and Cesc Fabregas contributed the winning penalty. Other goals came from Fabregas himself early on. Then it was de Groot, followed by Des Bollard and Callum Styles for Barnsley, before Jovan Malcolm put us back in front. Valero Vera equalised for the Tykes. Is that Barnsley's nickname? I think it is. Then we had to rely on Fabregas with a penalty in the final 10 minutes after Humphreys had seen his marching orders. That meant that he was suspended for the game against Derby. However, plenty of goals again for this one. Jordan Ayew and Alioski for Derby, and Brian Fearbeamer, Jovan Malcolm for ourselves. Another sending off, Claudio Gomez in the 75th minute. At that point it was 3-2, we were winning. But a late goal stole a point for Derby in another fantastic stadium. We then lost. So it was a win, a draw and a loss in our last 3. Brentford, again, that looks pretty good. The Brentford Community Stadium, it was 4-1 and we had a shocking first half. Brian Fearbeamer was sent off in the very first minute. I mean, what do you do from there? Hergota and Agapong, they got the goals in the first half along with Bradley Dack, so it meant that we were 3-0 down at the break. In the second half, Barry Douglas brought it back to 3-1 before Hergota, he got a second goal to put Brentford well ahead 4-1. Douglas went off injured, which left us with 9 men on the pitch as the game ended, so not really much opportunity for us to salvage anything from that one. Well, that has left us in the table. I go to the right screen. That's left us 5th in the Sky Bet Championship table. 56 points. We're just 3 clear of Preston, our opponents today in 7th. But we are 2 games in hand on the likes of Aston Villa and Crystal Palace, who occupy those top 2 spots. If we were to win both of our games in hand, that would put us above Villa in 2nd. Sort of assuming that Norwich don't win their game in hand as well. There's no telling that we're actually going to win our games. Couple of squad changes. So Jamie Proctor has been mutually terminated. He has been taken round the back of the stadium and shot between the eyes. Too many complaints about not playing. I just had enough and just gave him his termination papers. He accepted them and off he went. The other change has been in our staff. We have hired a new coach. Apparently he's played a bit in the game before, not fully sure who he is, but few England caps, just a couple. We've brought him in because he was recommended to us. Why not? Ronnie Jepson, I think, has left. He was the coach that I moved on to make room for Wazza. I do feel somewhat loyal to Wayne. I once signed him for AC Milan back in the day, I think it was. And since he's on the market, we have brought him in. The transfer window has just closed recently at the end of January. So we didn't actually make any further business following that loan move for Josh Humphreys. But we did get to see the wage expenditure. And that was quite a startling difference between ourselves, 115k a week, and the top of the league, which is Palace and West Brom, with 975k a week. Quite a difference, but we're still up there. So what does that tell you? Preston are in their away kit today, green. Not a big fan of green as a kit, to be honest, but there you have it. So yeah, the other team, obviously in the playoff promotion picture, is Norwich. They spend 625k a week. So just over 500k more than we do on a weekly basis. There you go. The thing that I was going to talk today about as well, and we'll do that while the game's going on, is the FM 2021 new features. So FM have released a new video just explaining what they have in store for us for the new game that's coming out on the 24th of November. As Burke gets a cross in and Humphreys gets his first of the season. Great cross by Luke Burke, made the goal there. Humphreys, our loan signing from Liverpool, doing the business against the North End. Look at the overlap from Burke there. Fantastic. And Humphreys gets up tallest. So the new features involved in Football Manager 21, we've got things like the new platforms, including Xbox One. That's a big one to get it back on the consoles. Obviously not on PlayStation yet, whether that's something in the future, not quite sure, but having it on Xbox and the different sort of Microsoft options is a really good thing. Interaction and gestures have been updated with little meetings and the gestures replacing tone in press conferences and discussions. Match day build-up and the post-match events have been updated. Oh, good effort by Fabregas. As always, it's developed year on year. Expected goals introduced. That's something for the statisticians amongst us. Regular fans will be somewhat amazed that I managed to get that word right without messing up. There's been the usual recruitment update. This one was really interesting because it showed that there was going to be a meeting just at the start of every transfer window so that you could go through with your scouts exactly what you're after for the coming weeks. That would actually have been quite useful for ourselves because I was after a striker in this transfer window that just went, and I had to do much of the legwork myself. The one striker that they recommended was a lad at Stoke called Gallagher. He's since signed for Bristol City, I think, but he wanted far too much. He wanted 20 grand a week. There's no way I'm paying that sort of money for a striker to come in when we've got Humphreys here for Liverpool on a free, and he's just scored a goal. The other thing that's been updated and something to look forward to is the end of season in Football Manager 21. So additional media, additional celebrations, the graphics have been updated obviously, and you'll be able to look back on exactly what your highlights were for the season just past, which is, I think, a pretty good thing because often you sort of finish the season and then just move on straight away. So looking back over what you've been through, especially if it's a long season. Here we are in the Championship and we're playing a lot of football. I can't remember what our first results were. I have no idea. I can't even remember what our best result of the season is. Our biggest result, who knows? So it'd be good to have a look back at that sort of thing and just go through exactly what happened earlier on and see what your highlights were. So those are the sort of things that have come out at the moment. Obviously, there will be more as the previews and the release date gets a bit closer. The next step is going to be testing for the game. As an assistant researcher, you get involved in that sort of thing. So I'm with AFC Fylde, the club that we're with at the moment. It's Fontaine. Oh, it's a goal for Preston, direct from the free kick. Matthew Fontaine. Good strike. Nothing Mitch Walker could do about that. I think it was dead eye in the top corner. Yeah, it was. He got over there well, the goalkeeper, but couldn't keep it out. So we'll be testing, followed by the release of the beta, and then the official game comes out on November the 24th. If you've not got your copy already, get it ordered. And obviously here on YouTube, I will be participating in a new save. Plenty of new saves, I think. So I've currently planned there will be a save around the A-League that we do in conjunction with A-League FC. Really supportive over there. And then one for myself, which will be sort of a lower league kind of save. So there should be plenty of YouTube Football Manager 21 coming out. The boys did do excellent, of course they did, against our local rivals. Sorry for not really focusing on the game for that one, but it is another point that takes us further up. Our next game actually is against Norwich City, so that is going to be a bit of a tough one. We are right there, as you can see, 5th place in the thick of the playoff picture. So we're now 4 points clear of Bristol City. So even if they win their next one, they can't take us out of the playoffs. Preston have now moved into the promotion. Of course they did. They were 7th at the start of the day and now find themselves in 6th. How interesting. So I hope you're excited about the release of Football Manager 21 coming. We've only got a few more episodes of Still We Rise to come, because I want to have a little bit of a break before we get started with the new game and the new way of playing. Got to get used to it, got to get plenty of research in. So that is going to be something to look forward to. And next up for us, I believe, was episode 72, which is going to be a double episode. Now, it was going to be Reading and Stoke, but the Bristol City game has been inserted there as well, so it might be Villa and Bristol. Nah, I'm going to stick with Reading and Stoke. 2 home games in quick succession. Let's base ourselves over at the Globe Arena and see what we can do. We do play some big teams in the next few. Norwich, then Palace come at the end of February, followed by Villa at the start of March. So I think we're going to have to win our games, certainly against the MK Dons and Bristol City. Bristol City actually are on quite a good run themselves. If we look at the form chart in the Championship, it is a little bit daunting for us. It always puts the bottom sides up first. So as you can see, Bristol, oh no, they've taken a bit of a dive. Right, okay, probably a good thing that we got postponed. They had about a 7-game winning run, but obviously they lost that. Lost 2 games, won another 2, and have lost their most recent. We're sort of mid-table for form at the minute, but if you can look at the clubs that are sort of in the top bit of that sort of table, you've got Millwall, QPR, Reading. They're not really in the playoff picture. The teams that are, it's kind of like Swansea. They're the ones that could crash the party and get involved there. No surprise to see the likes of Palace, Norwich, West Brom and Villa all high up there in the form table. Before we go, I do want to have a quick look at Bristol City then, considering that is going to be, I think, a key game for us. You'll see here, this is the big run. There you go, from the end of September all the way to the end of December. Look at that, unbeaten run. Just 1 draw against the MK Dons in that stretch. But since then, they seem to go on a bit of a spurt. They seem to go through. You've got a couple of losses, then 4 games without one in succession, including Palace in the FA Cup. Then you've got another 2 losses, 2 0-0 wins, and a loss to Norwich in their last game out. by the time they play us, they will have played some big games. Look at that. Preston at home and then West Ham in the FA Cup. They'll be well up for that. And then Stoke away. If there is one team that I would pick for somebody to play before us, it would be Stoke away. So we will then head to the Globe Arena where we'll take on Bristol. I've got a feeling that's going to be a key game, you know. So by the time I'm next on YouTube, we will have played, I think it's 5 games. So plenty to report on. As you can see, we've not won now in 3 games. So we do need to start turning that round. And it's not going to be easy against the Norwich side themselves pushing for promotion. Thank you for joining me for today. It's been, thankfully, a quite shortened episode. That's what we're all striving for. Lots of information on Football Manager 21. Lots of news on the transfer window and personnel in the form of Wayne Rooney and Jamie Proctor's departure. So thank you to him for what he did for us, but sadly you are no longer required. See you next time.